Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com, your only place for G.I. Joe content 24/7. Yeah, I say that, but I haven't been on for a couple of days, have I? It's been it's been a bit of a busy week. Not just in G.I. Joe land, but in life in general. It was my birthday a couple of days ago. Thank you very much. But yeah, I know I don't look a day over 21, do I? Anyway, yeah, we're taught so anyway, so that happened. It's also Kate's birthday today, just happens to be 2 days apart. So we've been, doing fun things and enjoying going out and having fun and everything and checking the plate. We went to some awesome places today. I won't get into the details, but we did some very nice things today. So yeah, now I'm back. It's news burst time. It's talking stuff, and I have a bit of housekeeping as well. I will start with. So our Kate's Robo Skull was overnighted to her, so she got the standard edition Robo Skull ages ago, but we decided not to kind of go crazy and post all over the place. Don't want to spoil anyone's fun or ruin anything for anyone, because I know people were waiting for them. So that was really fun. That was awesome getting that in. And then the rest of our Robo Skulls arrived today. So I will be doing an unboxing of the special edition tomorrow, and we'll also have, because obviously Kate bust open the standard version and it's amazing, so I'll have that as well as like a comparison sort of thing when I do that tomorrow. Now that's that. Also, we were not going to be doing the weekly tomorrow because we're doing a lot of other content this weekend. Like I said, that's why I'm doing this news burst tonight. It's why we're doing the unboxing tomorrow. I'm doing the unboxing tomorrow. And so weekly is going to be postponed to next week, and it will actually be episode 200. So Pat and I will be celebrating with a special 200th episode of the Full Force Weekly, which is kind of cool. And then, well, we're getting into the New Year's and Christmas specials as well, aren't we, soon? So we're going to be working out all that jazz. So what we'll be doing with that is the Christmas special will be a look back at our favorite things of the year of 2024, and the New Year's Day special will be a look forward to what we're most excited about. Probably do our top threes as we usually do, and get the usual crew involved. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you guys about. We also have hopefully Lenny and Tony are going to be joining us again. Well, I would say this coming week, next week, that coming after the weekend, because it's Friday, feels a lot earlier than that, because of course Thanksgiving happened as well, didn't it? So I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving as well. Yeah, so what was I saying? That's pretty much it. Okay, cool. I think that's all the housekeeping. So like I said, Lenny and Tony hopefully next week, and that will go out as soon as I've got it edited. And other than that, I think that will, like I said, bring us pretty much up to the end of the year with all the content and that. So yeah, all very exciting. So hope everyone is having a good weekend. Well, it's Friday, isn't it? Just started. Hope everyone's weekend has started well. Thanks for all the happy birthdays in the chat as well for myself and for Kate. Much appreciated. Right, let's get into it then, shall we? Because we've got some news to talk about. For the last week or so, we've been getting lots of leaked classified images, and there's some stuff I want to talk about in a bit of depth. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's do it. Hello to everyone in the chat, by the way. There's a lot of you. Yeah, I hope everyone is having a good Friday. Let's keep it going, shall we, with more leaked classified images. Now, just in the to kind of keep the narrative moving here, we saw this image pop up by Jay Khan a couple of weeks back, and this was of Darklon with no head, obviously, and or the accessories I guess he's coming with, and a couple of things to kind of point out. I wanted to point out here is that the next image we're going to see from Shaw Lu, who has been posting the images we're going to be seeing from this point on, it kind of gave us a little bit of a different look at the Darklon figure, and some of the secondaries are slightly different as well. So if we look at this particular one, get an eye full of this, you're looking at a lot of grey secondary kind of pieces, right? Especially that arm piece, which looks to be at the moment in a different orientation to this one. So this is obviously a different camera, different quality of photo. It's definitely not as saturated colors wise. So we might be looking at two different sort of, you know, extremes here, or this could be a more realistic look at what the color looks like on this figure. There's a couple of things actually regarding this image. Not only do we have 3 Darklon kind of like figures of various stages of production, as you can see, there's like grey thigh pieces on the one on the far right, whereas the other 2 seem to be slightly different. The other's got black kind of like secondaries, and then the other one's got grey secondaries. So it's anyone's guess what we're actually going to be getting out the other end. But it looks as though that arm piece could be either wrong on this image, although it looks a little bit better than it did on that one. Maybe this is the correct orientation, and it kind of looks cool. I mean, if that goes up a bit, I imagine that kind of sharp piece sticks out like a, you know, kind of like an armored kind of shoulder guard sort of thing. Shoulder guard sounds like a Scandinavian soccer player. Dennis Shoulder Guard. Sorry, I just went on a complete tangent there. Also in this image, obviously you've got multiple different Darklons, which is probably the draw of this particular image. But we also, if you have a quick sneaky peek down that bottom left, and I've zoomed in so we can get an even better look, we've got Xandar. Now this Xandar doesn't have the secondary on it, so you're seeing what it looks like underneath his chest. And they have indeed included like tattoos on his chest that will be on this figure, because we know this as well, because if you look at the video I did with Tony when we were looking at Xandar at the press breakfast for New York Comic Con, you'll see on that video and in some of the images that that tattoo on the chest kind of like pokes out round the corner of that secondary. So that said, we knew it was there anyway, but this is really cool to actually see what it looks like underneath. And they've given him sort of like a more sort of like stylized version of what that original figure had on his chest. So it's nice that we get that kind of, it's like curved, kind of like, I don't know what you call them, lightning bolts. That's the word I'm looking for, I think. Cheers. In any case, I like seeing what is underneath that secondary, and I'm digging it. So that is Xandar and his tattoos. Chris rules, he's the likable Alan Partridge of the toy world. Robert Burton, that is the best compliment I have ever received. I love Alan Partridge as well. I'm kind of addicted to watching clips of Partridge in all sorts of different scenarios. And yeah, thank you. I love the Alan Partridge, the likable Alan Partridge of the toy world is that's the compliment right there. Thank you, Robert. In any case, Xandar with his chest out, swoon, loving those tattoos. Really cool. We can also see a little bit of that kind of sculpted neck scar as well, in the kind of face kind of paint that kind of goes down to the neck, which is pretty dope as well. Anyway, that is that from that. So thank you, Shaw Lou, for posting these images and getting us a good look at these. Also on that image, a few people are asking me, oh, who are the other kind of figures? Well, Dial Tone is in the middle at the bottom, and Raptor is on the right-hand side. A few people were kind of saying, oh, is that Crystal Ball? No, that's Raptor, a figure we already have in hand. And he's actually standing on the top of my Stinger because I've run out of space on the rest of the display. So it's like he's landed on top of the Stinger. It's quite fun. Anyway, that is that. And there's Xandar's chest again, just for fun. Now, as well as that image, we had this image posted by Shawlu. And this shows 2 accessories, 2 weapons with similar deco. But I will throw this out here, that the one on the left, after careful consideration and actually looking at other things that were on renders and so on and so forth, is the shotgun that is going to be coming with the Claw pilot. What is interesting on this one, you can see it's the same deco, the white and the black, and then of course the red and gold shells in the shotgun kind of ammo magazine. What's the drum, I think it's called. But what is interesting about this is that I imagine it's because the drum's not plugged in properly the right way around, because I imagine that the red and the gold are the wrong way around, and I think it's just because the drum's in the wrong way. You can almost see that it's in the wrong way because of the way it's sitting in that magazine kind of section. So for those thinking, oh, they've got the colors the wrong way around, I'm pretty sure it's just that they put the drum in the wrong way around. Either way, that's going to be coming with the Claw pilot. Now, there's the other weapon though on there is a rocket launcher with a purple strap. That's the auto shotgun from the Hiss, says Ryan. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, what I'm saying is that deco is coming with the Claw, Ryan. I don't think that's the deco that came with the Hiss, is it? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's the deco. It's the mold, but it's not the deco. Do you get me? Cool. So with the rocket launcher, I initially thought, God, have I forgotten? Or is that maybe with the Twilight Guard because of that purple? But it's not. So I don't really know what that's coming for. Color is correct on product sample, brass in back. So render was wrong. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. Interesting. Interesting. So this is the correct way round that the drum should face. That's that's an interesting turn of events. But in any case, coming back to the rocket launcher, obviously this is the one we've had multiple times with Snow Serpent, Bazooka, Fire Team, Snow Serpent, Bazooka, Fire Team. Well, Bazooka, Tiger Force Bazooka, Snow Serpent, Fire Team, and Fireworks. Fireworks. That's for people that know what that reference is. 4 uses so far. Has it had more? I can't think of any other uses off the top of my head. I'm sure there are. Can anyone let me know in the comments if there's another one I'm missing there? Like I said, Bazooka, Tiger Force Bazooka, Snow Serpent Deluxe, and Fire Team. There might be another use, but I can't remember what it was. In any case, lots of that bazooka or that rocket launcher. But again, I don't know if this maybe was going to be planned for Twilight Guard, possibly. But the white's throwing me off because the Twilight Guard weapons are just like black and purple, aren't they? So I think I can see it, but the lighting's quite dim over there, so I'm not sure. Either way, not sure who the bazooka or rocket launcher comes with. Maybe it's for the Claw pilot as well. I don't know, because it seems to be very similar to the rifle, the shotgun. So don't know. In any case, that is what that is specifically referencing. Now, as well as those, we're getting into the meat and potatoes now. Yeah, this one was an interesting one, wasn't it? Now, we have since had some extra information regarding this. Now, apparently, this was a cancelled clutch head where they wanted to give him a toothpick. And, of course, in terms of getting it to actually look like a toothpick was difficult because, you know, if you go too small, it just becomes very, like, breakable or maybe a bit sharp or pointy. Or it doesn't look right because you've also got to get a deco hit on it as well at some point. So, you know, in order to kind of like also paint it, I think this was just one of those things where they went, you know what, we can't get it right as a toothpick, so let's just like not bother doing that one. So this is sort of like a, you know, almost like an experiment, or it went a certain distance and then they just decided against it. So there you go. We have a cancelled clutch head with this toothpick aspect. Thank you, Daniel. And so, yeah, this was an interesting one again, because it's not often we see a lot of cancelled items. I mean, we have seen them, I want to say, but it's not something that happens very often. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to say that because of that, this is one of those things that stands out, because it's like, oh, cool, this has kind of come out in some other way on the kind of like underground scene. I don't even know what you call it. Like it's not even like the dark web, but do you know, like the prototype collector scene, shall we say, or the pre-production kind of collector field. So it's nice. I like that. I like seeing things that didn't make it, but what got a certain distance. So this is kind of fun. And like I said, I'm probably in agreement with them. They couldn't really get it, the toothpick small enough to make it look like a toothpick. Good idea, but would have been very difficult to pull off, Kitty said. But that's clutch, and I thought it was an interesting one to check out as well anyway. And with having that little bit of extra information was nice as well, just to kind of like fill in anyone's kind of like questions if they had any about that one. But very cool indeed. Next up then, and this really was an interesting one. Again, Shorlu with the post on this one. I think he did a video of this as well. Like it looks like originally the screenshots that we came across seemed to be from a kind of like live sort of like TikTok or Instagram video. Either way, we get another good look at what is, I mean, a lot of people are calling this like retro breaker. Effectively, it's, you know, mass device breaker, some people are calling him. It looks first of all, it looks like breaker. Of course, we have this mass device theme floating around, so that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? We also have a retro series, so I'm not surprised people are making these sorts of connections or kind of saying these certain things. I'm just going to call him Breaker from now on, and then we'll find out what he is later. But this is an interesting one. I love the new head sculpt. I think that's really cool. They've gone with that kind of like sunbow color. Well, and I guess action figure color as well. It's like a kind of greeny gray color, isn't it? But it's definitely a good look for him. I like the use of, is it Grunt's secondary? I believe it is, with a little flip down thing. And also I like the fact they've thrown that E4 on there too. That's quite fun. Does it have his name on it? I can't even read what it says on there. I can't read what it says on there. It probably is his name, but I haven't even thought to even check that aspect of the image. It's something Kibbe, isn't it? Is it Alvin Kibbe? His name? Yeah, I can't see. If I zoom in on it, it just is just like absolute mush. So I don't think it is. Maybe his name. It might be A Kibbe, mightn't it? Actually, it kind of does look like that when I look at it now. That it looks like an EY at the end, and it looks like an A at the beginning. It looks like A. Kibbe. So it could very well be. Yeah, it could very well be his name on that. I mean, I assume it would be anyway, but it's nice that, I'm not sure if you guys can see that as well, but it definitely looks like A. Kibbe. Anyway, by the by, I like how I love the head sculpt on this one. I think it looks really, really cool, and I'm interested to see the rest of this, the figure real. Do you know what I mean? Like in hand, kind of like shown off, actually sort of like, you know, officially shown off. Chris, loved your chat with Brian Flynn last week. Did he really have nothing to say about the next wave of Super 7 Ultimates? Any chance you can ask him about that next time? So Pez Dispenser, thank you, or Pez_Dispenser, thank you for the question. Thank you as well for the kind words. The interesting thing about the Super 7 interview, I had to cut, I think, like close to 10 minutes. And it wasn't even like, I don't think it was really necessarily revealing or anything like that. There wasn't really anything, you know, crazy, you know, revealing in there. I think I definitely think there was an element of overcautiousness, but again, there wasn't really anything revealing in there. I won't say what I cut off for obvious reasons, but again, it wasn't anything. I mean, it wasn't anything that I personally thought was like controversial, or people were going to be like, what, or it was going to be something cool. Anyway, so I cut it kind of like not really being that fussed, because I was like, well, it's not, you know, it doesn't need it in there anyway. I'm not that fussed. But we did discuss Ultimates a little bit, but we didn't get onto that was my fault actually, because when we were talking through and going, like we probably talked for over an hour, And because of the other elements of the questions and all the other things that we went into when we discussed, I effectively ran out of time and had not cut things, but I didn't get to that point where I wanted to lean into what's next for Ultimates. And that's my fault. That wasn't actually cut out of the interview, unfortunately. But from my understanding, it's going to be less release, like less, but not like they're going to do more Ultimates is what I'm getting at, but it's not going to be in the same like amounts that they have done in the past. So I imagine we'll probably get more Ultimates in sort, and this is really more an assumption that I've made in talking to them, but like I imagine it's going to be more like exclusives and things like that, one-offs, store exclusives, con exclusives, and then there might be the odd wave here or there, but I don't think it's going to be the same volume they were doing before, which has actually eased off anyway. So it's not like, I mean, that's not I'm not like giving away any trade secrets there, am I? In any case, that's my understanding of things, Pez Dispenser. But you can blame me for that one, because even though, like I said, I had to cut 10 minutes of the entire interview, there was, like I said, there wasn't any real extra talk about Ultimates, unfortunately. But yeah, Master Vice Breaker says Soda Commander. He needs to come with bubblegum, says Pastor Pierogi, because he's probably all out of bubblegum. I like it. That would be cool if they did an alternate head with blowing the bubble or something. That'd be great. Robert says North Norfolk Digital is king. Absolutely, another Alan Partridge reference. Please tell me he comes with the bubblegum. The bubblegum bubble, says Same Time Toys. I don't know, unfortunately. This is all we've seen so far. We might get more images of this figure with accessories like we have seen with others. Who knows? Hey, nobody's perfect. Thank you, Lone Dragon. I think that's me. Needs bubblegum like Marvel Legends Jubilee, says James Smith. Yeah, I think that would be a nice touch. The bubblegum would be a nice touch. What's really cool, I'll shout out to Brian Sauer and Assembly Required, but for 1 year, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, Brian did, it might have been an armor or an armor 2, I can't remember, but basically he did a 3D printed 2 bubbles 3D printed, kind of like 12-inch 1/12 scale that plugged into the mic on the classified breaker helmet, and they're really cool. In fact, my breaker, which I can't reach right now, oh, there he is, he's right there. I probably could reach. I'll just reach him. Stay here, don't go anywhere. This is always good for radio, isn't it? Hang on, stay there. I'm gonna get him and show you. I'll show you. Okay, I'm back. So this was the real. I'll show it on the full screen later as well when we finish. But it's a little bit far. Like, obviously you have to get it the angle right. But the bubblegum attaches. I got the pop version to his mic on his helmet. As you can see, it's a little bit far away. But if you move, you can actually, kind of coax the mic a bit closer to his mouth for it to work properly. But either way, it's a really fun little addition, and I liked that. So that was what the Brian and the team at Assembly Required did as a little addition in the gear packs. I think the gear kits. Right. Medic 1849 says, what do you think of redoing head sculpts? Falcon obviously needed one, but do you agree with new head sculpts for retro figures? Nevertheless, the figure looks good. Yeah, I kind of do. I think because this is a different head sculpt that we're looking at here from the one that came out. And I like the fact that they're doing something different, because it means that it's not just the same figure again. There's something different about it. So I'd have to say that in this particular case, I like they're doing another head sculpt. I don't have a problem with the classified breaker head sculpt, but it's kind of nice to have like slightly different ones. And it kind of reminds me of like the vintage era where you'd get like a new version of a character and the head sculpt would be completely different. Like, like Roadblock version 2, Destro even, Snake Eyes obviously with the different visor and everything, completely different looks every time there was a different version. And I know that's different because it's not a head sculpt. Same with Destro. I've kind of used 2 very poor examples there, but like just different head sculpts and different figures different versions of figures were utilized. So like I don't have a problem with it personally, and I kind of like it, especially with Falcon, I thought that was necessary. Am I the only one that noticed they repeated that ending? What ending? What are you talking about, Lone Dragon? Oh, nobody's perfect. Sorry, I see what you're saying. I got it. Does he look a bit more slimmed down than some of the other Joes? Could just be the lighting messing with my eyes. Facially, he looks slimmed down. But the body itself, I think, is just it's probably just like a. There might be new stuff on it, but it does look like heavily grunt in there. But I could be wrong. I'm sure people will let me know what the actual build is. Should have asked about Snake Armor in the UK. RKW, I might have done. Hint, hint. The new Breaker looks good. I like the new head sculpts. I'm hoping Flint looks more accurate to the Sunbow cartoon and original artwork. I wasn't a fan of the classified Flint head sculpt. I was, Benedict, but I know what you're saying. And yeah, the new retro Flint will be a different figure altogether. I wasn't all that happy with the Flint head, but it was so much better than Falcon. 100% says Same Time Toys. Wasn't there an extremely rare beardless version of Breaker from 82, 83? I can't remember the reasoning behind that, but is because the card art didn't have the beard, and I think there is a carded version that is super hard to get and really expensive that might be out there, but I can't remember the details on that one, so someone's going to have to fill that in for me. If Pat was here, he'd be able to tell you. Crimson Cobra Commander says, hey, I just got a 3D printed classified headquarters. It's 50 inches wide, 36 inches deep. Do you think something like a headquarters at that size is doable for a HasLab? 50 by 36. I don't even know what that is. What even is that? If only I had something 50 times that. If only I had if only I had a tape measure. Isn't that random? I wasn't even joking. Okay, so I know exactly now what 50 inches looks like. That's pretty big. I mean, it's effectively the almost length. I mean, this desk I'm working on right now is probably 54 inches, I would say. Let's have a look. Yeah, exactly 54 inches in length. So yeah, that's big. For a HasLab, maybe, but I don't know if they'd go that big. That might be a bit too crazy. Something similar, though. Don't like that vest at all, says Kevjewel 100. Not a problem. I mean, you know, that's a shame. I'm sorry that you don't like it. That's the only one of the leaks with a head, says Soda Commander. Yeah, it kind of is. Mark says, looks cool. Wonder if he will be retro or straight classified. I don't know if it'll be sort of like he'll be classified, but in that kind of mass device sort of arena, or like you say, yeah, some sort of retro card back thing. Don't promote your channel here, bro. There's a time for me. Don't promote my channel. Needs bubblegum, says Scott. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't he? Please, new head sculpt for retro Flint. There is one, Mark. There is it's a new figure completely. Hello, Christopher Black. Full force to you as well. Beachhead version 2, exactly, Jeremy. Again, another bad example of the vintage changing head sculpts. Nightfall's Falcon is a great fig, says Benedict. It certainly is. Sabir said, yeah, I was wondering if this was even 1/12 scale because he does look smaller than the first release Breaker. No, that's a classified figure, 100%. Looks like Recondo Falcon Arms on Breaker. Thank you, Benedict. I thought that. Yeah, you're right. Recondo Falcon Arms on Stalker Grunt Torso. Believe previous photos had rock and roll legs. Yeah, that makes sense, Jeremy. Head sculpt is good, though. Where is the PO for this one, though? Usually we get the PO window, then a leak of the fig. This time we got the leak well ahead of the PO period for a 2025-2026 fig. Sabir, we've had leaks for figures way before they officially come out, mate. Darklon is one of them. Ryan Daly says each 82 figure was supposed to have his own head. That was it, yeah. But for budget, they only made 7 for the 13 Joes. There are images of production samples of a clean-shaven Breaker, but it was never released. Thank you, Ryan. I believe the Beardless Breaker was a planned revision to be closer to the comic book, but cancelled before release. Carded samples exist, but weren't at retail, says Ryan. The Breaker looks like he quit the bubblegum for cigarettes. He def has the grunt plate carrier. Yes, he does. We never got a grey Sunbow version of Breaker in the modern era. This is a cool callback for Classified. I agree with David. I think that's a good shout. David Warren Hernandez. Hello, buddy. Doom says, did Flynn say anything about vehicles for O-Ring? Again, I may or may not have asked that, and it may or may not have been cut. So I can't go into much more detail than that, unfortunately. What you see is what I could get out there for you guys, okay? With Brian. I will ask those questions again in a future interview. Just to kind of, the ones that, again, that I think people wanted to know or had kind of, the only thing, like I said, the only thing that I didn't ask, because I just ran out of time, unfortunately, talking about loads of other crap, was the kind of like the future for Ultimate, like more what's going on in the future of Ultimate sort of thing. So that's on me, but everything else, let's just say, if you didn't hear anything about it, it may be that I had to cut it out, possibly. Anyway, I think that's everything for this particular one. Watch the interview. If you don't hear your question, watch it again to be sure. Scott, I appreciate that you're trying to get people to double watch, get the numbers up, but yeah, if you don't hear it the first time, guys, I probably just had to cut it out, or it may be the case where like I'll just have to do it next time. But yeah, everything in the interviews is everything I could actually get in there. So yeah, there'll be more for sure. Chris sold his likeness to Hasbro. Do you think so, Todd? Is that me? Is that my face? It's got a similar kind of mushy nose. Like my nose kind of like it's broken. It's all over the place. It's not too far off, is it? He's got a little bit more space in like the bottom of the beard here. Actually, that does look. I'll give you that. The hair's not as high though, Todd. Although it's probably about the same height under this hat right now that it is on that figure. Anyway, yes. We're also, like I said, we're going to be talking to Lenny and Tony as well next week. So what I will do is I will put out another one of those social posts that's like, hey, we're going to be talking to Lenny and Tony, throw in some questions. So I'll do that across the board and see what people will want to ask. I mean, I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions about the design stuff that's happened over the, like the figures that we've seen released over the last previous kind of like what PulseCon and NYCC and SDCs. Well, probably not that far. PulseCon and NYCC for sure, and so on and so forth. Looks better than his selfie series, says Pass. How dare you? Breaker to go with McLeod. Indeed, Scott. Indeed. Thank you, Sabir, for watching. Right. So, in summary, actually, there's no summary. I haven't finished yet. We can keep moving. So, thank you to Shawlu for the images. Like I said, I think this was from a video, like a live stream sort of video where he showed it on camera. Because the original images have like, comments on there. And so I cut those out because just to focus on the figure that we could see, basically the elements that we could see. Anyway, moving on then. So obviously we've already covered 2024. We know what all the listings are. They're all check, green, and even going into 2025, we are green in some of those as well. With obviously Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dialtone. And that just denotes the fact that we are at pre-order stage. We've seen the figures officially revealed, and we're at pre-order stage. Then you got the yellow, which is stuff that's sort of name-only revealed and is shown up on the listings. So Frag Viper, Blowtorch, Darklon, Footloose, Snake Eyes version 4 for the standard retail waves of 4 figures. And then going into Deluxe and Legacy, obviously Heavy Duty with Machine Gun. That has already been pre-order and officially revealed. Law and Order, we've got a render for it, so that's a little bit more than we have for some of the others. We do for Frag Viper and Footloose as well, don't we? And Blowtorch. So we do have a lot of renders as well for these guys too. And of course, the 60th Firefighter, which is really funny because ever since the 60th Firefighter was shown, I feel like I keep seeing firefighters like on my daily travels and commutes and stuff. I'll just be driving around and then I'll see that, the kind of black gear with the silver and like neon yellowy green sort of stripes. And I see that so much now. And whether it's because it wasn't really on my radar before, but now it is probably more likely. But it's just funny that I keep seeing that particular design as well. Anyway, so anyway, the 60th Firefighter as is RR Tommy on there. Going through on the other side, we know obviously Crystal Ball is a name only reveal, and that is a Walmart exclusive. Snake Eyes with Polar Bear is the Fanmazon there. And that is the mass device, sort of the first mass device sort of themed figure. And that's a render as well. Cobra Defensive Perimeter, although I think it's actually called the Modular Fortification Unit or something, isn't it? With Trench Viper. That is obviously at, what's the word? Pre-order level and official reveal. Then we've got a bunch of others that we just don't have a clue yet. We can speculate a little bit in a second. Hang on. Hang you on. The Claw with Cobra Pilot, which we've seen a render for, we've seen packaging art for. No idea when we're actually going to see it. And now we've seen a figure and one of the shotguns that's going to come with the figure as well, leaked, I would say, in hand. Then of course we have the Slice and Dice leak reveal, and that was leaked, unfortunately, Slice and Dice. But we know that's the Red Scare 2-pack. And HasLab Rattler, we know, is Dinosaur Neil. And then, of course, we have Cobra Viper, Mindbender, and Rock and Roll are also pre-ordered official out there. Televiper, Flint, and Covergirl are name-only reveals, but that unlocked those 3 on the retro classified listings. And then that leaves us with Scratch and Sniff, Hello Nurse, and Ralph T, which we don't know yet. We know 2 of them. We don't know all 3, but we can't discuss that yet. Now, in terms of speculative stuff, there's a few interesting things in here, like Vehicle, Goliath VEH. A lot of people are kind of saying, well, that's very likely going to be the Ore Striker as a Pulse exclusive. And I'd have to agree on that one. I think that's a pretty good shout. There's an unknown vehicle Pulse exclusive as well listing. So we do have 2 kind of vehicle listings on there. So it could, either one of those could be the Ore Striker, is what I was getting at, because basically that image they teased at the end of New York Comic Con, it's just, to me, it's screaming Ore Striker. So it wouldn't surprise me if one of those 2 was the Ore Striker. Other than that, though, if there's 2, what does that leave us with? What do you guys think? What do you think we're going to see vehicle-wise next year? Obviously, there's always the option of some sort of repaint, right? There's always that option. Then there is the kind of like, well, there could be that we're looking at something new. So Skyhawks as Lone Dragon, interesting. Snowcat, that might be a bit too big arcade. I don't know, it could happen. Thunder Machine says Realism. Yeah, again, Snowcat and Thunder Machine, they've been kind of like floating around for a while now, haven't they? In terms of like, couldn't they? Fang is a good shout. Rogue, KT-21. The unknown vehicle is obviously the Star Brigade robot, says Ryan. Hilarious. Lone Dragon says Skyhawk because of the C&D. Well, actually, that's not a bad shout, is it really? Considering that it's not always the case. They don't necessarily always go and C&D things necessarily. To some degree they do. But there have been times when IP has been very much utilized for some sort of third-party situation. So the fact that they did a C&D could quite literally be because they're doing a Skyhawk. So it's not the craziest thought in the world, Lone Dragon, at all. I'm kind of with you on that one. Fang is a good shout, though, Rogue. I'd love to see a Fang. And I think considering it feels like it's that size that would make sense for like a kind of mid-range sort of vehicle. Mobat Benedict, my goodness, that'd be massive. That'd have to be a HasLab for me. A Thunder Machine Snowcat 2-pack, says Thanos. That's hilarious. Armadillo is smaller, says Jeremy, than a Fang. An Armadillo would be great, actually. 90s tank with goofy Nerf missiles, Benedict. Was that the... Oh, God, what was that called? I've completely had a brain fart. The Detonator? Was it the Detonator? No. What was that called? I've completely forgotten. I know exactly which one you mean, though. I can see it, but I can't name it. Fang or Skyhawk? Probably Fang because it will troop build better. Yeah, you could probably do like a male pilot with that one, because when you got the female pilot with the claw, do a male pilot with the Fang, and you know, using that kind of like design again, pretty much, but for a male figure. Detonator. It was a detonator. I thought so. Thank you, Byron, for the confirmation on that. I do hope it's a Joe vehicle. The Joes are very under-equipped versus Cobra at the moment. Actually, Scott, it's funny you should say that, because looking at my display, that is so true. It's like Dragonfly Hiss Tank, cool. Vamp Stinger, cool. But then it's like the Tiger Paw Ferret, but then you've got the Ram, Tiger Force Ram, the Ram, Tiger Force Ram, Night Force Ram. So it's 6 for the Joes. And then Python Trouble Bubble. Claw eventually, I guess. So it's actually even, technically, unless I'm missing something. Have I missed one? I don't think so. So yeah, it's the HMS. It's not really a vehicle; it's a towable, but it's still. Oh, the Chariot, the Baroness's bike. Okay, yeah, the Coil Cycle and the Serpentor's Air Chariot have bumped it 1 over for Joe. Claw's going to be 2 over, but then I imagine an Ore Striker, right? If that reveals to be believed, so we'll be back to 1 up, and then I don't know. It's technically only 1 up at the moment. Joe vehicles typically have unique driver characters, while Cobra have troops. It's easier to troop build Cobra vehicles, so it makes sense Hasbro would prioritize that side. Yep. Oh, the Rattler. The Rattler will go back up to 2 again. Yeah. But then next HasLab, so that evens out again, doesn't it? Because it'll be a Joe HasLab. So sorry, not even out, back to 1 up. So it's not that bad. It's not like they're like crazy overly like taking the advantage. Would you include Raptor's wings as well? And if so, do we include the jump packs? Because if we start doing that, then G.I. Joe probably starts to catch up a bit and maybe goes ahead with like the Steel Core, Starduster, Duke. Man, my God, they've used that jump pack a few times now, haven't they? And there's 2 with the Steel Core. And then do we include McLeod, Tiger Force McLeod, Scrap Iron's drone, friggin' Nemesis Immortal's wings and Gwibbler. Am I getting too silly with it now? Probably am. I'll stop talking. But either way, I don't think it's too crazy. What does bump Cobra over, though, is the fact that we have freaking Robo Skulls to play with that goes with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Damn, son. I'm saying, like, that Robo Skull, the production Robo Skull, is one of the most perfect things I've ever seen. I'm ruining the unboxing already. And loads of people already have it open and have played with it already. It's fine. But like in terms of like what my initial thoughts are from opening Kate's, the Roboskull is incredible. Like it is, the Mark II is just out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. But yeah. I would not could not include Raptor's wings. Brilliant, Scott. Weird there's no reuse yet for the coil bike. Yeah, they just kind of didn't bother again, did they? They could just leave a driver out of some vehicles like they did back in the day. I'd buy a lot more that way, says Lone Dragon. I've been happy with all the HasLabs so far. Looking forward to the next Joe one. Todd, me too, man. Like every one of them has had some just absolutely next level element included in it, and I'm really excited for the Rattler. The Dragonfly as well. I haven't even had an opportunity to really enjoy that. Did the unboxing. It's gone up on the shelf, and then it's just been, oh, okay, life, work, that kind of stuff. It would be nice if I could actually enjoy it a bit longer. Do you think there will be any add-ons to the Dragonfly similar thematically to the Hiss Tank's missile system with Techno Viper? I'd hope so, Benedict. Maybe in some of these listings there might be something that we just haven't like seen or put two and two together yet. But yeah, I'm surprised we haven't had more than that. I mean, I guess like Airborne was technically supposed to be a kind of an accompanying figure because it was done in a certain way. Like, hey, we know you wanted Airborne with the Dragonfly, but you're going to get him in this wave, and they didn't come out close together. Obviously, they were supposed to, but based on delays and other aspects, that didn't necessarily happen the way they wanted it to. But yeah, I think Airborne is part of the kind of Dragonfly. I'm not. It's kind of like this is a bit of a stretch, but I'd also kind of maybe put Starduster in there as well, even though it's not really. They haven't really made that connection or that connectivity. Do you know what I haven't tried yet? I haven't tried Doc's stretcher on the skids. Has anyone done that yet? Probably have, but I just not done that yet. I'd like if they did. I'd like if they did ground crew. If they did some sort of like jump pad with like a Grand Slam, and then the jump pad could double as a helipad. Like things like that would make sense to me. Like just that is like do that, and then that goes with the Dragonfly perfectly. Sabir says they're milking those jump packs. I like them though. Yes, same. Cobra has air superiority, or Joe's like Decepticons over Autobots. Yeah, indeed. Storm Shadow can break a tank with his hands, so he counts. Thanks, Pass. Firefly's drone and RC car. Wow. Thanks, Rogue. Throw a couple more in there as well. Lone Dragon says it's so stupid. Some people don't even collect vehicles at this scale, but still want the driver for their collection. And people like me want to buy one of the driver and 3 of the vehicles. It's just how it is, isn't it? We all have different like wants and needs as collectors. Your namesake has wheels. Yes, Pass. Indeed, I've added him and the Tiger Force one as well. I haven't put the batteries in the Dragonfly yet. I was going to do a video of the lighting. I'll have to do that soon. Maybe an attachment for Dragonfly to transport a RAM. Lol. Nice one, Todd. Any idea when the Robo Skull book is coming? Asked Matt. Pretty not too far away, I don't think, Matthew. I did get shipping notices for other aspects of the Robo Skull as well. I think it was. I'm not going to say, actually, just in case I'm getting some sort of preferential treatment, having worked on the project. But more stuff is coming. The book wasn't part of that though, but I don't think it's too far off. Kyle says I'm late. What's gone on? Nothing at all, Kyle. Just 49 minutes of me waffling. GL says Zanzibar with a skiff would be cool. Also, Annihilators with copter packs. GL, I'm with you all day long on that one. Annihilators with helicopter packs and Targats with those like massive like jet packs, I think would be so cool. And yes, Zanzibar with his skiff. He has to come with his skiff. We have to get Zanzibar with his skiff. But then again, I said that about Darklon, and we're getting Darklon as a single retail Wave of 4 figure with no evader, which is a shame. Need a Dragonfly equivalent to the Fire Team? Yes, Sloan, we do. We need a Fire Team for the Dragonfly, basically, don't we? Aerial drop Hal, says Scott. Yeah, that would be funny. I could see them doing, obviously, a repaint of the MMS. But the other thing is, I don't know if it's sold very well, because hasn't that been going on like clearance, or hasn't gone on clearance, but is still in stock on Pulse? I don't know. I'd have to have a look at that again. But yeah, that might play into it. Maybe they might look at it and go, well, let's not do this for G.I. Joe just yet, because it, hung around a little bit for Cobra. I don't know. The stretcher fits perfect. Oh, brilliant. I'm gonna pop that on there, because they're actually right next to each other, which is even more annoying, isn't it? I've literally placed it on the top of the shelf, and sitting next to the Dragonfly is Doc with his stretcher. So I need to actually check it out. You saw someone place it on there on a review of the Dragonfly. Cool. Thank you, Sabir. Does the stretcher count as a vehicle? Technically, yes, pass, if we're going that deep. Jeremy says fits, but still bows under the figure's weight. Right, cool. Well, we can't have everything, can we? The cards and flight stand are shipping right now. That's what I was saying. Sorry, Matthew. Yes, those were the things that I got shipping notifications for, but didn't want to say just in case other people didn't. So yes, the card set and the flight stands are shipping right now. You're totally right. Sky Striker or Tomahawk or Whale for next HasLab. I would cry if they did a Tomahawk. I'd love it. I think it'd be the best thing ever. And I would probably that would be me done forever, because that is the pinnacle for me of iconic G.I. Joe sensational brilliance. The Whale is pretty dope, and I think the Whale could be done, but the Tomahawk might be pushing it, especially with the kind of ideas I have for the Tomahawk. I think it should have space for a ram to fit in the back, so it could roll out the back. Too much, probably, but still, I think that would be phenomenal. I'd buy separate flight stands for my trouble bubbles if they made them. Yeah, that would be cool, actually, Lone Dragon. I'd like to get some sort of like flight stands for some of these figures and vehicles. I think Zanzibar without skiff would be a crime, but then again, we don't have a swamp skier either. Exactly, Jamie Lynn. Exactly. Next HasLab is the Whale, no doubt, says Thanos. Do you think? HMS is still on pulse under the seasonal sale, so is the fire team. Exactly. So they might be looking at that and going, maybe it didn't quite work out the way they wanted it to. Anyway, right. I think that's pretty much it now. I think we talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Mr. Madgus says, just came in. If you were talking about stretcher under the Dragonfly, yes, it does, and it cooks using the foot pegs. Hi, everyone. Awesome. Right, let's bring it to a close. Thank you very much for joining me today to discuss. Oh, actually, I wanted to show you one more time. Let's just quickly switch to single frame. Because I wanted to show you Breaker's bubblegum, didn't I? So this is like they did two of these, and they connect to his little mic thing on his helmet, so it can kind of look like he's blowing a bubble from a certain angle. And again, like I said, you can kind of coax it so it's a little bit closer to the mouth and touches, but you have to kind of work the mic, which I haven't done. Anyway, there's two of those. You get the kind of little, this was ages ago for assembly required. You get the kind of popped bubble, and you get the another one that's just a bubble, which is awesome. And they put it in a little, actually I've got that as well, if I can reach it. Yeah, I can. They put it in this. I put a little elastic band around it to, oh, here we go. They put it in this. Isn't that adorable? Original Breaker bubblegum, 2 pieces. Nothing bursts my bubble. Nothing bursts my bubble in red and blue. But isn't that adorable? So that's where those 2 pieces lived for a while. That I took one of them out and put it on his helmet. But anyway, that was really cool. Fire team isn't part of sale in the USA. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Nice callback. Yeah, got my AR gear kit, Destro's Castle. I need instructions. And Matthew, yeah, they're friggin' amazing though. I love what they've done they've just done some amazing like stuff over the years. There was the rooftop hideout, the Storm Shadow kind of water tower hideout, which was really cool. Even had a little kind of like in the distance on the back of one of the walls, there was like a cityscape, and there was a billboard with Frozen Fudgy commercial, like, billboard with Quick Kick on it, which was amazing. Just loads of fun stuff like that. I've got one set up behind me, which is like you can kind of see it actually, just in the corner there. That is the Arashikage sort of like 6-inch cardboard display. You can't really see it very clearly, but it's like a back wall, a floor, and then 2 little side bits that kind of like come at an angle, and it creates like a little Arashikage dojo, which is pretty cool. They do Brian does some brilliant stuff. Brian does our graphics as well. Brian Sauer, and of course runs Assembly Required, and it is the best show ever. The last one we were just at was brilliant. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks very much, guys, for joining me tonight for a rather impromptu sort of weekly, but not. Just a little bit of news catch up, really. And we'll be back with the regular weekly, episode 200 of the weekly. So it'll be a special with like fancy graphics, new graphics and everything. That'll be Pat and I will be joining. Pat will be joining me for that one. And we'll be doing that, like I said, next week. Tony and Lenny and Tony, however you want to call it, hopefully speaking to them this week. This coming week, sorry, this like Monday or Tuesday, I don't know when, we'll have to work it out. And then like I said, we're getting closer to our Christmas, New Year's Day specials as well. There'll be loads more news, I imagine, to talk about, and continue doing news bursts every day. And tomorrow I'll be unboxing Robo Skulls like an absolute crazy person. I cannot wait. That's me. That's this. Happy Black Friday, I guess. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'll see you tomorrow if you want to show up for that, of course. If not, I'll see you when I see you next. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And after 3, as always, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters.
That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/TheFullForce. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @TheFullForce Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.